American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network. For more information, go to queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my head tonight. Had the time of my life.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines. I'm Amy.
And I'm a gay bee.
A gaby? What's a gaby?
What's a gay bee?
That's Joe, and we are the podcast that brings you nostalgic, interesting, and crazy events in American pop culture history year by year.
That's debatable. Whether it's
So this
nostalgic
is part
or
2
interesting.
of 1970.
1970. We are in the 70s.
That's right. So, if you haven't listened to part 1, go back and listen to that because that will help you with this part.
Unless you're only listening to this as a favor to us and you're really only half listening anyway, you're just like, there, I listen to you idiots, then just do whatever you want.
Yeah, that could be a possibility too. So I was talking about a big event and that happened in 1970, and I chose the case of Dr. Jeffrey MacDonald, who at 3:42 a.m. on February 17th, 1970, who called 911 and said that his wife and 2 children were murdered.
Yes, that's
by a
all we
hippie
know.
cult.
We don't know what for sure happened because this is the 70s. DNA tests didn't exist.
Yes.
Nobody knows what really ever happened. So
And
everything is just false.
So he said
Probably.
that there was these hippies that came in,
These mysterious hippies
this
came in.
girl with long hair and a big floppy hat, and
big,
she had
beautiful-
a candle, and she was chanting "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs."
Because that's what people who weren't hippies thought. That's all hippies did was have candles and chant random weird things.
That's exactly
Because they didn't understand what hippies were.
Okay, so
Listen to that Jimi Hendrix.
We are on July 5th, 1970, and this goes until this is called
We'll start with July 5th.
This is called the Article 32 hearing.
Okay.
And it's like a military equivalent to a trial.
Okay.
Since he's a soldier and he's on,
He gets a military.
He gets a military.
Yeah.
It's a military.
Because he's at Fort Bragg.
Yeah, that's right.
North Kakalaka. See,
so
I listened.
They, the defense in this case concentrated on the poor quality of the investigation because they let out. It wasn't a secured crime scene, and the existence of suspects. And specifically, there was this woman that the defense found named Helena Stokely who matched the description
of the woman with the candle.
Yes.
Holy.
She had been seen with a floppy hat on and blonde wig, and she was this drug addict around town.
Huh.
So the defense claimed that the CID didn't properly manage the crime scene, but there were several pieces of critical evidence, like the 4 tips of the gloves that were found. You know how the word pig was written on the headboard in blood?
Right.
And they found surgical gloves.
Yeah, that he had already in the house, right?
Yes.
That's what you said last
yes.
time.
And they had been lost. Sorry about that. They'd been lost, and also the skin found under Colette's fingernails. They had collected that, and they'd lost it.
So the evidence went missing, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's one of the things that defense was claiming, and they also claimed that they located.
Wait. The defense was claiming that it was missing, or
no? The defense is claiming that it got lost. See, they're trying to prove that the investigation was a mess.
Oh, they're trying. Okay.
Yeah. So
I would think they would want to say that it never existed, wouldn't they? If they were.
Well, no, they're trying to prove that there were a bunch of clowns in there that you weren't doing. Then they also located this Helena Stokely.
And when you say a bunch of clowns, you don't mean like big shoes, red nose, makeup.
No, I don't.
More like ass clowns.
Exactly. So they located Stokely, who was this well-known drug user, and
that's a lady.
Yeah, and they found other witnesses that claimed that she had admitted it, and but they're all drug users, so it's hard to.
It's hard. They're not exactly reliable.
Right, exactly. So that's the Article 32 hearing. And
once that started, on the day that started, actually, Air Canada flight on July 5th, 1970, Air Canada flight 621 crashes near Toronto International Airport, killing 109 people. The crash was caused by poor landing procedures and inadvertent pilot error. The terrible accident came less than 2 days after another jet crash had killed more than 100 people in Spain.
Jeez.
The roots of this accident can be found in the working relationship of pilot Peter Hamilton and his co-pilot Donald Rowland.
What? They got in a fight or something?
I'm thinking more of a sexual thing. Let's see.
What?
Though they were colleagues who often flew together, they frequently disagreed. Okay, it's not a sexual thing. They disagreed over the procedure.
You would jump to that.
Well, it's in the relationship. I mean, a relationship is almost always sexual.
No, it's not.
Oh, name 3 relationships you have that aren't sexual.
You're ridiculous.
What? Me? I'm ridiculous?
All right, keep reading,
anyway,
please.
They disagreed on the procedure for deploying the wing spoilers at landing. The spoilers are the parts of the wings that assist in braking when they're put in the right position. Hamilton preferred to arm the spoilers or get them ready for deployment early in the landing process when the plane was 2,000 feet high, although this was against company policy. Rowland eventually agreed to arm the spoilers before landing, but only when the plane was just above the ground. On this day, Rowland accidentally deployed the spoilers rather than merely arming them as the plane was approaching Toronto's airport. The premature deployment immediately caused the right wing to plunge to the ground. One engine on the right side fell off, and the loss of weight sent the plane back into the air. Hamilton tried to regain control and attempt another landing. As he did, another engine, and then the whole right wing detached from the plane. The DC-8 broke into pieces in midair near the airport. All 108 people on board were killed.
Man, that's a downer.
I don't know why it said 109 at the beginning, but
maybe they died and they came back to life, resurrected.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is there was a secret person on board, so later they found out, oh, Jim Flanagan was there too.
He's a stowaway?
Yeah, stowaway. They found an extra body. Oh,
down in the luggage.
Or maybe the marshal, not the marshal, but what's the landing? The guy who tells them where to park.
One of those guys died or something.
What do they call those guys? The
landing guys.
Landing marshal guy. Maybe they hit one of those guys. So maybe that's how.
Maybe it was a zombie situation where they brought them. They came back to life after that person died, and they were like brains. And people are like, well, some people would consider that another person that died, and then the next group's like, yeah, but he's back to back to life.
Well, that's likely. I bet it's more likely that it was just a typo on Wikipedia.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be that instead of any of this. And then on Saturday, July 11th, 1970, we have a new #1 single on the Billboard charts, overthrowing the Jackson 5. It's 3 Dog Night.
Ooh, what song?
Mama Told Me.
Mama told me not to come. She said, that ain't the way to have fun. Son, that ain't the way to have fun. That's a good song.
I just had to let you take that because I don't think I heard it until I listened to this.
That's a great
I hadn't heard of it. It was pretty groovy.
Yeah, it is.
Now, 3 Dog Night, that they're most known for a different song, though, right? For what's their biggest song?
I don't know. I think so. I think they have a lot of songs.
They're not Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. That's is that 3 Dog Night?
Yeah, that might be them.
Jeremiah was.
Yeah, that might be them.
I think it's them. Anyway, you'll never guess who wrote this song.
Who?
Randy Newman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a funny song.
Yeah, I guess you can picture him singing it.
I mean, no,
Mama told me not to come.
Yeah, he wouldn't
Mama
do it the same way.
Not to come. I can't do Randy Newman.
No, you can't.
I'm trying to do the Family Guy, Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Now I'm walking in the tree. Now it's punching me in the face. I can't remember how that goes. Anyway.
That's not bad.
So you love that song?
I do.
And then on Saturday, July 18th, 1970, George the Animal Steel fought Bruno Sammartino in a cage match at the Boston Garden.
I thought there wasn't going to be any wrestling. You found it?
I dug up some wrestling, baby. There's not a lot of 1970 on the WWE network.
Yeah.
But I found an old George Animal Steel against Bruno Sammartino cage match.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did, and it was interesting because...
From 1970?
Yeah, because George Animal Steel was big in the 80s, and I always knew him as this old, short, fat guy. And with back hair, and he was just he was a little less fat, but he was still
the
covered
same.
in back hair and acting like he has disabilities. And of course Bruno Sammartino won in the cage match. And then on Saturday, July 25th, 1970, the Carpenters take over the Billboard chart #1 spot with
Is it why do birds suddenly appear every time
You are near, just like me.
They long to be close to you. Was that right?
Yep, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Written by Burt Bacharach in 1964.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Yep. Of course, it wasn't really good until Rick Moranis sang it in Parenthood.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
I don't agree.
You want to wrestle right now?
No, we're not doing that.
I will wrestle you right to the ground. And then we're going to jump all the way to August. Monday, August 10th, 1970.
Yes.
Do you have your anger hat on? Because you're about to get mad.
All right.
Did you know that up until 1970, United Airlines had men-only flights?
What?
The New York and Chicago Executive were advertised as a club in the sky for men only, with business.
So it's like a Playboy mansion in the sky?
With business-oriented amenities, free cigars, and a steak dinner served by stewardesses, the only women aboard.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine having that job as a woman?
A lawsuit by feminists ended the flights.
Can you imagine being a stewardess on that flight?
No, but
There's probably gang rapes going on.
but really, the dudes are probably all just sucking each other off.
You think?
Don't you think? Like, no women. Why not?
But no, they have women. They're working
they're probably,
there.
Yeah, you're right. They're probably just exploiting them and
Oh,
treating them like crap. But Trump was on a lot of them.
yep.
The Trump family. But what actually happened on this date, so that was one of the things, but it's also on August 10th. There was another thing that that didn't allow women. McSorley's Old Ale House, the oldest Irish tavern in New York City, was founded in 1854. It did not allow women inside until 1970. Attorneys Faith Seidenberg and Karen DeCrow filed a discrimination case against the bar in district court and won. The two entered McSorley's in 1969 and were refused service, which was the basis for their lawsuit for discrimination. The case decision made the front page of the New York Times on June 26, 1970.
Sweet.
It established that as a public place, the bar could not violate the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution. The bar was then forced to admit women, but it did so kicking and screaming. Barbara Shum was the bar's first female patron. With the ruling allowing women to be served, the bathroom became unisex. 16 years later, a ladies' room was installed.
Oh, wow. 16 years later?
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I don't really, it kind of defeats the purpose for me to go to a bar if there's no ladies there.
Right.
Like, you want ladies there, fellas.
Right.
I guess unless it's a gay bar.
A gay bar. Maybe it was.
Yeah, maybe it's just like, okay, we'll let women in here. Jeez.
I know. They just want our Appletinis.
They want our good advice on clothing.
Antiques.
Yeah, so 1970 was a big year for ladies. They could take flights and
Oh my
drink
God.
beers.
It's insane that it was that late.
I know, it's weird. You think of women's suffrage and rights and everything as being so old and so long ago, but
Well, 70 was kind of long ago.
it is
but
long ago. 70 was, what's that, 60 years ago now? 75 years ago? 1970?
No.
That's 71 years? 83? 90? 40? 30? 20?
No.
10?
It's like 40.
I'm just kidding. I actually know. I know.
What is it?
Well, I was born in 76 and I'm 42. So it's 70 would be subtract the 6 from, add 6 to it.
Carry the 4.
Yeah, so Saturday, August 22nd, 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Bread.
Oh, I can't remember what they sing.
Make It With You. You don't remember how that goes?
No. Not from the title.
Yeah, I listened to all these for like a week, but I think I deleted play. This was not good. But I have a funny thing.
What kind of music is it?
It's like soft rock. A lot of this was soft rock in the 70s.
Yeah.
Oops.
In 70 at least.
In 70, yeah. Well, in this year particularly, was a lot of soft rock. 70, and I've listened to a lot of 71 already. And it's a lot of soft rock. But when the song was released, David Gates' mother was asked, he's in the band, he was asked by a local interviewer how her son's music career was going, and she misunderstood the song's title. She replied that his group had just recorded a song called Naked With You. And it's also, but it's Make It With You.
Oh. I'm gonna make it with
I want to
you.
make it with you, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
all these 70s songs, they make me think of. It's just like it brings back such vivid memories of like riding in the back seat of the car and
me too.
And like
being a young child.
Yeah, like being like before school, and I didn't. My brothers all went to school, and I had to just go where my mom went. I remember like going through the bank line every time, the drive-through in the bank, and just having to go everywhere she went, and just had unstructured alone time with my mom because the kids were gone, or the brothers were gone, and just being a child and. Not much out, like really not knowing what the hell is going on around me,
Yeah.
But like it just reminds me of childhood, I guess. It's always on the radio. The music is my mom always had music on. The radio was always on. There's always music going. So yeah, it's kind of weird, really, that soft 70s.
And that's another thing our kids aren't going to have.
Just music all the time.
Like they're not going to go back and remember the certain part in their life for the popular music of the time. Like even if we do play music, which we don't play enough, I don't think.
I do all the time in the car with the kids.
Even when we do play music, it's not the current pop hits most of the time. It's stuff that we like.
No, I let Audrey play all the pop songs.
Oh, you do?
But she tells me what's popular.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know. I wouldn't know.
I guess maybe they will know some. But.
Yeah. I think that's different too because there's just so much more music out there now than there was in the 70s. And
that's true.
So maybe it's that. But anyway, that's a garbage song.
I don't think it's that bad.
You don't?
Nope.
Well, you're wrong. So Saturday, August 29th, 1970, Edwin Starr takes over the Billboard charts with
No idea.
War.
Oh.
Good God.
Yo, what is it good for?
Or absolutely nothing.
That's a good song.
Did you know that the Temptations originated that song?
Did they?
But a lot less intensely.
Yes.
It really wasn't.
Well,
it didn't sound as like.
Whoa.
It wasn't like a hippie like fighting the war thing. Yeah. So you can tell it's the same song, but it's a lot different.
Yeah, I bet.
Not that kind of one we all have grown to love.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, September 1st, 1970, there was a little bit of controversy in the Mr. Olympia final that year.
Oh, yeah?
In 1970. Are you familiar with Mr. Olympia?
No.
Well, in the Mr. Olympia final, the judges could not decide between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sergio Olivia. So the two of them, exhausted, agreed. They made an agreement together to walk off together. So nobody would actually win. Sergio left, but Arnold, after taking one step, turned back to the judges, made fun of Sergio for leaving, and started posing again and won.
Oh, well, dirty.
Yeah. Yep. Sergio had beat Arnold in 1969.
Oh.
So he had to pull out all the stops.
Yep.
Some people call that cheating. And cheat meant a cheap shot.
Well, it tells you what kind of person he is.
You know, if I was the judge, I'd be like, sorry, pal. The other guy wins.
Yeah,
for
I would
leaving.
too. Because you're a dick.
You dick. How could you do that to Sergio like that?
Yeah, that's crap that they let him win.
Okay. And now I hope you strap yourself. Put your strap on.
Okay. I was wondering what you were trying to say.
Strap yourself. This is a doozy.
All right.
Okay. September 17th, 1970. Although the details of Jimi Hendrix's last day and death are unclear and widely disputed, he had spent much of September 17th in London with Monica Danneman. Mm-hmm. He awoke late that morning at Danneman's apartment in the Smarkend Hotel. Mm-hmm. By around 2 p.m., he was sitting in a garden area outside the apartment enjoying some tea, while she took photographs of him holding his favorite Fender Stratocaster guitar that he called the Black Beauty. In the opinion of author Tony Brown, Jimi doesn't look particularly healthy in these photographs. His face seems a little puffy, and on only a few of these pictures does he attempt to smile. These would be his last pictures. The day of his death.
Yeah. That's amazing that they have those.
Yeah. According to Danneman, by 3 p.m., they had left the apartment to use a bank. They continued on to Kensington Market, where Hendrix signed an autograph for a young boy, purchased a leather jacket, and ordered some shoes. Mm-hmm. Hendrix and Danneman then went to a Chelsea Antiques Market, where Hendrix purchased more clothing, and another stop to buy writing paper, which he used to compose his final lyrics. Danneman and Hendrix drove to his suite at the Cumberland Hotel, meeting Devin Wilson as she walked down King's Road. Now, according to I.B. Dreamy's Live Journal, it's the only place I could find info about who Devin Wilson.
Okay.
It's either Devon or Devin Wilson, D-E-V-O-N. Mm-hmm. Devon, it's a lady. She was romantically linked to Jimi Hendrix, Mick Jagger, Brian Jones, Eric Clapton, Dwayne Allman, Miles Davis, Quincy Jones. So she was like one of the first groupies.
Yeah.
But like a famous one.
Oh,
so
okay.
Sort of like she was known to do it with all the stars,
Yeah,
the big stars.
geez.
And there was pictures of her online. She is beautiful.
Beautiful.
So she's like kind of like a madam to these guys.
Mm-hmm.
She was considered a super groupie. A lot of people thought she was deceptive and unlikable, and she was known to spike the drinks of people she considered her rivals.
Oh.
One well-known story about Devon is that she threw a birthday party for Jimi on his 27th birthday, but she left the party to have sex with Mick Jagger. It's been said that Jimi Hendrix wrote the songs Dolly Dagger and Freedom about Devon.
Wow.
So Hendrix asked Danneman to stop the car so that he could get out and talk with Wilson when she stopped by. Wilson invited Hendrix to a party that evening. Danneman became jealous, giving Wilson a cold stare during the brief meeting. Later, Philip Harvey invited Danneman and Hendrix to tea, and they accepted. Prior to their arrival at Harvey's, they briefly stopped by the Cumberland. While at the hotel, Hendrix made several telephone calls. Late afternoon and evening, after stopping at the Cumberland, Hendrix and Danneman accompanied Harvey to his apartment, arriving around 5:30 p.m. Hendrix and Danneman smoked hashish and drank tea and wine with Harvey and two of his female companions while discussing their careers. Sometime around 10 p.m., Danneman, apparently feeling left out of the conversation and jealous of the attention Hendrix was giving Harvey's female friends, became visibly upset and stormed out of the flat. Hendrix followed her, and an argument ensued between them, during which Danneman reportedly shouted, "You fucking pig!" Or she probably yelled it like, "You fucking pig!" I should have you yell that because you're a lady.
Okay.
Harvey, concerned that their yelling would draw unwanted attention from the police, asked them to quiet down, worrying that Danneman might resort to serious physical violence. According to Harvey, Danneman verbally assaulted Hendrix in the most offensive possible way. Approximately 30 minutes later, Hendrix re-entered the flat and apologized for the outburst before leaving with Danneman at 10:40 p.m. Danneman said she then prepared a meal for them at her apartment around 11 p.m. and shared a bottle of wine with Hendrix. Sometime after returning to the apartment, Hendrix took a bath, then wrote a poem titled The Story of Life. At approximately 1:45 a.m. on Friday, September 18th, Danneman drove Hendrix to the party Wilson had invited him to earlier that day, which was hosted by Hendrix's acquaintance and business associate Pete Cameron. At the party, Hendrix complained to Cameron about business problems, ate some food, and took at least one amphetamine tablet.
What time was that?
This is at 1:45 a.m.
Oh, okay.
So like the next day,
Yeah.
Thursday night in the morning, like between Thursday and Friday. Approximately 30 minutes later, Danneman rang the flat's intercom asking for Hendrix. Another guest, Stella Douglas, asked her to return later. According to guest Angie Burden, the estranged wife of Eric Burden of the Animals, when Danneman came back around 15 minutes later, Douglas used an assertive approach with her to the point of being impolite. Undeterred, Danneman demanded to speak with Hendrix. Burden recalled Jimi got angry because Danneman wouldn't leave him alone. According to Burden, other guests at the party shouted out the windows at Danneman, asking her to leave. Hendrix eventually yielded and spoke with Danneman before unexpectedly leaving the party around 3 a.m. Danneman, the only eyewitness to Hendrix's final hours, said that sometime after 3 a.m. she prepared 2 tuna fish sandwiches for them after arriving back at her basement apartment. Around 4 a.m.
Tuna fish.
Yeah, well,
That's quite a...
after a lot of drinking and partying and amphetamines.
That's the first thing I want.
I want some tuna
fish.
Yeah, you want to do some amphetamines and eat some tuna fish? At 4 a.m., Hendrix, struggling with insomnia after having consumed amphetamines hours earlier, asked her for sleeping tablets. She later said she refused his request, hoping he would fall asleep naturally. Danneman said she surreptitiously took a sleeping tablet sometime around 6 a.m. with Hendrix still awake. She woke sometime between 10 and 10:20 a.m. to find him sleeping normally in bed next to her. She said she then left to purchase cigarettes, and when she returned around 11 a.m., found him in bed breathing, although unconscious and unresponsive. She telephoned for an ambulance at 11:18 a.m., and one arrived at 11:27 a.m. When ambulance crew members Reg Jones and John Sawa arrived at the Samarkand, the door to the flat was wide open, the gas fire was on, the curtains were drawn, and the apartment was dark. The crew called out several times, but after receiving no response, they entered and found Hendrix alone in bed. Danneman was nowhere to be found. According to Jones, well, we had to get to the police. We only had Hendrix and an empty flat, so John ran up and radioed and got the aspirator. It was horrific. He was covered in vomit. There were tons of it all over the pillow. Black and brown it was. His airway was completely blocked all the way down. We felt his pulse, showed a light in his eyes, but there was no response at all. At 11:30 a.m., police officers Ian Smith and Tom Keene responded to a call for police assistance from the ambulance control center. Jones commented once the police arrived, which seemed like no time at all, "We got Jimi Hendrix off to a hospital as quick as we could." The ambulance crew left the hotel approximately 11:35 a.m. to take Hendrix to St. Mary Abbott's Hospital, and they arrived at 11:45 a.m. Medical registrar Dr. Martin Seifert added, Jimi was rushed into the resuscitation room. He was put on a monitor, but it was flat. I pounded his heart a couple times, but there was no point. He was dead. According to Seifert, the attempt to resuscitate Hendrix lasted just a few minutes. The surgical registrar, Dr. John Bannister, commented, he was cold and he was blue. He had all the parameters of someone who had been dead for some time. We worked on him for about half an hour without any response at all. Bannister pronounced Hendrix dead at 12:45 p.m. on Friday, September 18th, 1970. He was 27 years old.
That's so sad. He was so talented.
Yeah, he was just unbelievable.
Yeah, he was.
But you kind of, like, it really makes you think now, yeah, I was drugs, whatever. I choked on his own vomit and everything. But
yeah.
With all that jealousy that day with her.
I know. It sounds like.
Who knows what she might have given
I
him.
totally thought it could buy murder.
Yeah, because it sounds
thing.
like he just had one amphetamine, didn't take any sleeping pills. And he choked on it. I mean,
unless
he might have taken some himself. Like he might
yeah,
have snuck them or
he
something.
might have. Well, after she left, he might have taken
who knows
more.
what she put in his food or the tuna fish sandwich. I mean, she fed him a lot.
Yeah, she did.
After being fucking pissed at him.
That's true.
So yeah, I don't know. A little bit about Monika Dannemann. She was a German figure skater and a painter, mainly known as the last girlfriend of guitarist singer Jimi Hendrix. But later, she became the wife of German guitarist Uli John Roth of the Scorpions.
Jeez.
And she didn't kill him.
No.
She's
no,
like,
they're still
Jimi
going on.
Hendrix and the guy from the Scorpions. Oh, well.
Went down the tubes
I
a
guess
little
I'll
bit
just
here.
rock you like a hurricane. I guess I'll
Yeah.
just go out with a scorpion. One of the Scorps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the story of Jimi Hendrix's last days.
That's sad.
Yeah. That's sad. Jimi Hendrix was a great one.
Yep. Yep, he was.
And I didn't know any of that stuff ahead of time. In that same day, while Jimi Hendrix was at those parties and on amphetamines, the Flip Wilson show was the #2 show on TV.
Sweet.
It was an hour-long. Do you remember the Flip Wilson show?
I never saw it.
It was an hour-long variety show that aired on NBC from 1970 to 1974, starring Flip Wilson. It was one of the first American television programs starring a black person in the title role to become highly successful with a white audience. Specifically, it was the first successful network variety series starring an African American. And during its first 2 seasons, its Nielsen ratings made it the nation's second most watched show.
Well, the only thing when I was little, I thought Flip Wilson was famous for those toothpaste commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Flip Cap? The
yeah,
Flip
he was
Cap
on
toothpaste?
That was like after he was washed up. That's
yeah, I
the sad
know.
thing. That's all we
and
knew him for.
I thought that was what he was famous for.
No, I think the most famous thing he did on there was he had the role of Geraldine Jones. So he wore he dressed in drag, and he was a sassy modern woman who had a boyfriend named Killer. And so there's a bunch of famous ones of him with Bill Cosby and people like that.
Jeez, that's not good anymore.
Yeah, no, that's not good, Bill Cosby. But back then, he was the shit.
Yeah, he was.
But Saturday, September 19th, 1970, Diana Ross is the new champion of the Billboard charts.
With
a gospel remake of another famous song.
What is it?
Ain't no mountain high enough.
I love that song.
Have you heard her version, though? It
I
like
think.
barely is the same song. It's like the hook is kind of that, but then the rest of it just sounds like a gospel song. Like it's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's definitely not.
What's the main version? Who sings the?
Ain't no mountain high enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye does the original.
Oh, he does.
Ain't no mountain high enough. And
I feel
Tammy
like
Terrell.
I feel like I think of Diana Ross, her version.
No, you're thinking of this one for sure.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, this is Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Listen, baby. But Diana Ross's version is awful. Here, play it.
Yeah, that's bad.
That sucks.
It
It's
does
just,
suck.
It's awful. Especially when that song is so good.
Yeah, when the original is
And
awesome.
that one sucks, yeah. So, anyway, it's a shitty version of, Mountain High Enough. And then on Wednesday, September 23rd, 1970, the movie Tora, Tora, Tora came out.
And we saw the
highest growth. Remember we watched the preview
I
of
remember
this?
that. It was weird.
Yep.
It's like a war movie of some sort.
Yep. Following, let's see. In 1941, following months of economic embargo, Japan prepares to open its war against the United States with a preventative strike on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
The film was considered a flop when it was released in the U.S., but was a huge success in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, it looked like a Japanese movie. When we watched the preview, it was kind of like, oh, the hell is this?
Yeah, it did.
So again,
it looked boring
if
as
we
hell.
haven't explained it to you, we are cheapskates, so we refuse to watch all the movies from 1970 because you got to pay for them. So we were like, we'll watch whatever's free, and we'll just watch the trailers.
I am not watching Tora.
No, I don't want to watch that either. But it was the highest growing movie in U.S. Grossing.
You said that. You keep saying that.
I keep saying growing.
Yeah.
Eighth highest grossing. Sorry. And then Friday, September 25th, just a few days later, it was the premiere of The Partridge Family.
Okay.
The first episode aired, and it was created for television by Bernard Slade. The series executive producer was Bob Claver. The show was inspired by and loosely based on the Cowsills, a family pop music group that was famous in the late 1960s. Did you know that? It was based on a real family?
I did not.
I had no idea.
I did not know that.
In the show's early development, the Cowsill children were considered by the producers to actually be on the show, but because they were not trained actors and were too old for the roles as scripted, Slade and Claver abandoned that idea. Shirley Jones had already been signed as Mother Shirley Partridge and star of the show. The pilot was filmed in December 1969, and that's stupid stuff. But anyway, it was the first airing of the Partridge Family, and it was huge.
Yeah, it was.
Did you know that? I didn't realize how huge it was. I just remember hearing about it being something in the 70s, but it was so popular. The fame took its toll on most of the cast, especially David Cassidy. In the midst of his rise to fame, he soon felt stifled by the show and trapped by the mass hysteria surrounding his every move. In May 1972, he appeared nude on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine in a cropped Annie Leibovitz photo. He used the article to get away from his squeaky clean image. Among other things, the article mentions Cassidy was riding around New York in the back of a car, stoned and drunk. So, anyway, Partridge Family.
Yep. He was, supposed to be...
He was like a heartthrob.
He was, big time.
He was like, in your terms, Kirk Cameron. Kind of how you feel towards Kirk Cameron.
No.
Now you have posters of Kirk Cameron everywhere.
I can't stand Kirk Cameron.
You swoon every time I mention Growing Pains. And, might I remind you, you knew the entire cast of Growing Pains without me even saying the show Growing Pains.
That's true.
Especially Boner.
All right.
He's your favorite character. Only I could bring up Growing Pains in the 70s episodes.
Yeah, I know.
Saturday, September 26, 1970... Sesame Street character Ernie made it to number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
Did he?
With a song called Rubber Duckie.
Rubber Ducky, you're the one.
You make that time lots of fun.
He made it to what?
Hey, Bert. Hey, Bert. Number 16 on the Billboard chart.
That's
that was on the Billboard.
Rubber Ducky.
Rubber Ducky. I definitely remember that song.
Yep.
It was on Sesame Street. Rubber Ducky, you're the one.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier this year we talked about Kermit. It's Not Easy Being Green.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. It was like the 70s. They were much more open to all different kinds of music being on the Billboard charts instead of just the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Like it is now.
That's true. And Kids Bop would never make it anymore.
Mm-mm.
But I also don't think... It doesn't seem like there's a lot of creative television
That's true.
songs anymore. Like, it's just...
Those were all Jim Henson.
Yeah, it's all Jim Henson stuff. Like, now kids watch crazy, awful shit.
That's true.
On Sunday afternoon, October 4th, 1970, producer Paul Rothschild became concerned when Janis Joplin failed to show up at Sunset Sound Recorders for a recording session in which she was scheduled to provide the vocal track for the already existing instrumental track of the song Buried Alive in the Blues. In the evening, Full Tilt Boogie's road manager John Cook drove to the landmark Motor Hotel in Hollywood where Joplin was staying. He saw Joplin's psychedelically painted Porsche in the parking lot, and upon entering Joplin's room, number 105, he found her dead on the floor beside her bed. The official cause of death was a heroin overdose, possibly compounded by alcohol. Cook believes Joplin had been given heroin that was much more potent than normal, as several of her dealer's other customers also overdosed that week.
Jeez.
Her death was ruled as accidental.
But she was a big, hard drinker, too. She lives at Southern Comfort.
Yeah. So I read through this, and I had a big, long story like Jimmy's, but most of it is just that she had some friends that were supposed to meet up with her that night, and they didn't, and they felt like she was sad because her friends were supposed to be there for her, and they weren't or something. But they all said they were coming over, and nobody did, and so her friends were like, really upset that they didn't do that.
And now, for some reason, I always heard she choked on her own vomit, too. Or I think people just like to say that about anybody. Like, people would say that about Amy Winehouse, too, probably.
Yeah. No, I don't see anything about her choking on her own vomit, but they do say that her death really shocked the music world, especially right at 16 days after Jimi Hendrix. Also at the same age, they're both 27.
That's right.
That's like the height of your peak of your. Saturday, October 10th, Neil Diamond takes over the Billboard charts with Cracklin' Rose.
I don't know that.
You do know that song. I didn't think I knew it either, but there's that. Say it loud, say it loud.
Yes, say it loud, my baby. Do 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 do.
Cracklin' Rose, don't do ba ba da do.
Do 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 do. Dun 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 dun.
Say it loud, say it right. That's the part of it, right?
Say it loud, my baby. Da, da, da. Play it now, play it now, play it now, my baby.
Play it now and not say it loud. I guess I'm thinking of say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. That's a little different.
It's very different.
You know, all those Neil Diamond songs. I don't know what the hell he's saying, except the E.T. one. But it sounds just like Put on Your Heart Light.
Yeah, it does.
But this song, people mistook the words for "Oh, I love my rosy child. You got the way to make me happy. You and me, we go in style. Cracklin' Rose, you're a store-bought woman. You make me sing like a guitar humming." That people thought he was talking about devotion to a woman of the night.
Yeah, I could see that.
But in actuality, Cracklin' Rose is a type of wine.
Oh.
And Diamond heard a story about a native Canadian tribe. While doing an interview in Toronto, the tribe had more men than women, so the lonely men of the tribe would sit around the fire and drink their wine together, which inspired him to write that song. Tuesday, October 13th, 1970.
Yes.
There was a television show on starring three young outsiders fight crime as undercover agents for the police. One white man, one black man, one blonde woman, the Mod Squad.
Oh.
In that episode that night, Julie comes to the assistance of her old teacher who was being targeted by others in her community for teaching sex education in school.
Boom.
And while that was on...
Yes. So he was in that hearing.
The hearing's still going on. All this time. All that stuff happened while the hearing's going on.
And so finally the charges in the military court.
Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin died while he was in this hearing.
Yep. So the military court dismissed all the charges against him.
They thought he was innocent? They believe him?
Yep. And they recommended that civilian authorities investigate Helena Stokely, the girl.
Well, I got to say, I didn't buy it at all. But once you said there was somebody who matched that description and she was kind of on drugs and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and there was this big story of he was a doctor and he was a real strict doctor, and all these drug addicts would go and try to get methadone from the doctors, and he would never give them anything,
really?
And they resented him because of that.
So that's a motive. That's motive right there, baby. That's motive.
I know.
I know how crime works.
You do. Now you do.
You taught me a lot.
You're good. So it was just that little thing, and in December it picks back up. But
there's more? It's not over?
No, it's not over.
I would think boom, boom, all over.
Nope. It gets worse.
Oh no, there's more. Okay.
It gets so much worse.
Well, Mod Squad was on at the same time. And then on Thursday that same week, October 15th, 1970, the World Series matched the American League champion Baltimore Orioles against the National League champion Cincinnati Reds, with the Orioles winning in 5 games. In this series, Emmett Ashford became the first African-American to umpire in the Fall Classic. It also featured the first World Series game to be played on artificial turf, as Games 1 and 2 took place at Cincinnati's first-year Riverfront Stadium.
Oh, wow.
This was the last World Series in which all games were played in the afternoon.
Oh, they used to only play in the afternoon.
Apparently. Yeah. That was the first year of Riverfront Stadium. That's crazy, 1970. It's old as shit.
Yeah.
And you love River. That's one of your favorite baseball stadiums, isn't it?
God.
Riverfront Stadium.
I've only been to 2 in my life.
You've been to 2 baseball stadiums?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Wrigley and Anheuser-Busch.
So the Cardinals?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, you've been to Fifth Third Field in Toledo.
Oh, that's a stadium, I guess. That's true.
That's a baseball.
So that's
the
3.
Toledo Mudhens count.
Yeah, that's true.
You never been to Comerica?
No.
Detroit?
Why would I ever do that?
Because you love me?
I never did.
You don't love me?
No, I never did go to that, is what I'm saying.
Oh. Have you been to the Charlotte Knights here in town?
No.
BB&T Ballpark?
Nope.
Jeez. Why not? I've taken the kids several times. You're just not you don't strike me as somebody who's into baseball.
I'm not into sports.
You don't even know what a balk is. Saturday, October 17th, 1970, the Jackson 5 are back on top of the Billboard charts with another number one.
Does it sound just like the other two?
Nope. No, I don't think so. This one is this actually song became this song replaced Marvin Gaye's I Heard It Through the Grapevine as the most successful single released on Motown in the U.S.
Okay.
A record that held until the release of Lionel Richie's duet with Diana Ross, Endless Love, in 1981.
Like crap. Until the crap-tastic 80s came along.
Endless Love. Mm-hmm. And if you want to pause the podcast here, then go back to our 1981 episode and listen until we get to Lionel Richie, Endless Love, just for shits and giggles, and then come back.
That's insane.
Oh, and now you're back. Welcome back. I'm glad you went back to listen. You want to guess what song it is?
I don't know.
I'll be there.
Oh, yeah. I'll be there.
I'll be there to protect you. With my world
all right.
around you.
All right.
I'm so glad that I found you.
We're not getting to do that.
I'll be there with a love so strong.
What's next?
I'll be your strength. You know I keep holding on. That sound good?
No.
In his autobiography, Moonwalk, Michael Jackson noted that I'll Be There was the song that solidified the Jackson 5's careers and showed audiences that the group had potential beyond bubblegum pop.
There you go.
A lot of people were amazed that such a young kid, because Michael Jackson had just turned 12
the
day the song was
God.
released. A 12-year-old singing about
love
forever. Yeah.
That's weird.
It is weird.
You know?
And then we wonder why he got so fucked up. Like,
right.
Hey, 10-year-old,
yeah.
sing sexual songs towards women.
And then have women throw themselves at you.
Yeah,
and then that's the other thing is the fans were all going nuts for him.
Yeah.
And he's like 12.
He's a child.
Yeah. It's like a little kid.
It reminds me of Sweetback. Sweetback's badass song.
What a creepy movie that is.
Remember that movie?
Yes.
At the beginning where she's like, yeah, it's like, if you haven't seen Sweetback's badass song.
Don't do it.
Kids, it makes a great Friday night movie, pizza night with your family.
It is bizarre.
Yeah, it's very weird. Anyway. But yeah, so you know, we as a society fucked him up, you know, and his dad. Mm-hmm. And we'll force you to sing adult themes as a child. That's weird. Monday, October 26, 1970. Mm-hmm. Oh, so do you remember, have you ever heard of Muhammad Ali?
Yes.
For the Muhammad Ali Jerry Quarry boxing match in Atlanta in 1970, printed invitations were circulated to attendees for a post-fight gala. The people who showed up were robbed at gunpoint as they walked in the door.
Oh, wow. 3
men met the partygoers at gunpoint, and more than 100 partygoers were there and forced to go into the basement and strip, and rob. More than 100 partygoers were there and forced to go into the basement and strip, and they were robbed of all their stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. How about that for a big scam?
That sucks.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Interesting story there. Monday, November 9th, 1970, the Oregon Highway Division attempted to blow up a washed-ashore dead sperm whale. The Oregon Highway Division attempted to blow up a washed-ashore dead sperm whale using half a ton of dynamite to dispose of its rotting carcass. The explosion threw whale flesh over 800 feet away, crushing cars and almost killing bystanders.
Whoa.
On November 9th, 1970, a 45-foot-long 8-short-ton sperm whale washed ashore at Florence on the central Oregon coast. At the time, Oregon beaches were under the jurisdiction of the state's Highway Division, which, after consulting with the United States Navy, decided to remove the whale using dynamite, assuming that the resulting pieces would be small enough for scavengers to clear up. Why were they wrong? George Thornton, the engineer in charge of the operation, told an interviewer that he wasn't sure how much dynamite would be needed, explaining that he was chosen to remove the whale because his supervisor had gone hunting. A charge of half a ton of dynamite was selected. A military veteran with explosives training who happened to be in the area warned that the planned 20 cases of dynamite was far too much. 20 sticks would have sufficed, but his advice went unheeded. The dynamite was detonated on November 12th at 3:45 p.m. Mm-hmm. The resulting explosion was caught on film by cameraman Doug Brazil for a story reported by news reporter Paul Lindman of KATU-TV in Portland. His voiceover, Lindman joked that land lubber newsman became land blubber newsman for the blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds.
Jeez.
The explosion caused large pieces of blubber to land near buildings and parking lot some
There's a lot of
distance away
bees.
from the beach.
There's a lot of bees in these sentences.
Well, that guy did that on purpose.
I know, but even after that, it was more bees.
The blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds. Blubber near the buildings.
Yep. And the beach.
Only some of the whale was disintegrated. Most of it remained on the beach for the Oregon Highway Division workers to clear away. In his report, Lindman also noted that scavenger birds, who it had been hoped would eat the remains of the carcass after the explosion, did not appear.
They're probably scared to shitless because of the noise.
Scared away by the noise.
Yeah.
The explosive expert veteran's brand new automobile purchased during a Get a Whale of a Deal promotion in a nearby city was flattened by a chunk of falling blubber.
Ooh, so there were giant, big pieces.
Yeah, big old pieces crushing cars.
Jeez, that's a big piece.
That's a big piece of blubber.
God, how big was the whale?
It was a sperm whale, so I mean, if you had to blow it up to get rid of, how do they get rid of them now?
I know. I wondered that too.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know.
I mean, yes, you have to blow it up. What else are you going to do? Let it sit there and rot?
I don't know what
Bury it?
You heard about that recently, that mama orca, that its baby died and it swam with it for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and somehow the news got a hold of it. It was like it just wouldn't let it go. It was like
I heard about the guy who crashed the plane and died trying to find it. Some guy that stole a plane.
He wasn't trying to find that whale.
He went up and he said he wanted to find that mama whale.
Oh, he did?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he stole that plane and crashed it in
Well,
Seattle?
he stole the plane just for shits and giggles, I guess.
Oh.
But then when he was up there, he said he wanted to find that.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That guy I heard was off his rocker.
Yeah, he was.
Monday, November 9th, 1970, the movie Ryan's Daughter was released.
Whoa, that looked bad.
Set in the wake of... Yeah, movies weren't
Wow,
good
this trailer for this one looked really bad.
Yeah, set in the wake of the 1916 Easter Rising, a married woman in a small Irish village has an affair with a troubled British officer, starring Robert Mitchum, Trevor Howard, Christopher Jones, John Mills, Leo McKern, and Sarah Miles. Yeah, I think I fell asleep during the
trailer of that. Yeah, that was bad.
So stupid.
That looked really bad.
Makes English Patient look like a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Boom! Boom on English Patient.
Boom, Muppet.
In your face, Muppet, you son of a bitch. Muppet, you're no longer allowed to listen to our podcast.
Stop it. No.
Just kidding. Brandon Wilhelm is our favorite loyal listener with red cheeks. He loves beer. He's drinking beer right now at a brewery.
Yeah, he probably is.
I saw a picture at Half Acre, I think is where he is right now, as we're recording this. Okay, Saturday, November 21st, 1970.
Yes.
The Partridge Family song takes over the Billboard charts from the TV show.
What song?
I think I love you.
Oh, so what am I so afraid of? The distance that we'll go to.
The guy who wrote that is Tony Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a lot of songs, but this was his biggest hit.
Mm-hmm.
One time he tried to sing his own song, and it was called Mr. Hunk-a-Chunk.
Oh, God.
And it's awful.
Did you listen to it?
Yeah, I listened to it
you
today.
You did?
What the hell is Hunk-a-Chunk? It's a shitty.
Yeah.
It's a shitty song.
It sounds like one.
Yep, it's stupid and dumb and crappy. And Monday, November 23rd, 1970, George Harrison subconsciously plagiarized a 1963 song called He's So Fine while writing his My Sweet Lord.
My sweet Lord,
Oh, my
hallelujah.
My sweet Lord. I think that's way better, but they're talking about the one that He's So Fine.
Oh, yeah.
By the...
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. It kind of sounds the same, but I think it's different enough, but apparently not. He got
sued.
Yeah, he got in trouble there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they executed him. That's what happened.
No, they did
He got
not.
the electric chair.
Ridiculous.
Well, he's dead. So
That's true.
okay, Sunday, November 29th, 1970.
So on this morning, a man and this is a different story. This isn't my Jeffrey MacDonald story.
Yeah.
This is a little side story.
Just a little side story.
So
I gave it to Amy because
it's a man and his two young daughters. They happen upon a body in the Isdalen Valley in Norway.
Okay, that's not American.
No, it's not. It's a corpse. And it's sprawled across some rocks, and its arms are extended in this, what's called the boxer position, which is a common position.
Oh, like Rocky?
It's typical to bodies that have been burned.
Ooh.
They have this position. So
a burned body on a hiking trail?
It was off. It was out of the way, though. It was an unusual place to walk. So
It was an unusual place to walk, you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so the police come, and the body was burned all over, including the face and most of the hair, but strangely it was not burnt on the back.
Huh.
It looked like she had thrown herself back, is what the fire people said, that she was
Like an explosion
so
blew her
badly
back, maybe?
burnt they couldn't imagine what she originally looked like.
Oh, wow.
And the scene was cold by the time the police arrived, so they couldn't tell how long the body had been there for. And so this is called the Isdell woman.
The Isdell woman.
Yes, and police find all these objects at the scene, including jewelry, a watch, a broken umbrella, and some bottles. But the positioning of the objects, she's not wearing any of her jewelry. They've been placed beside her, and it almost looks ceremonial.
That's weird.
And then they also found a pair of rubber boots and some nylon stockings. She was wearing
But she wasn't wearing them.
She was wearing those.
Oh, she was.
She had been wearing a lot of clothes that were synthetic, and they'd all been heavily burned. And the production labels had been cut off all of her clothes and rubbed off all the bottles that they found.
The production labels?
Yeah, like the tags.
They ripped all the tags out?
Yeah.
And the bottles, too?
Yeah. Yep, and all the labels.
Huh. Why would you do something like that?
I don't know. So there's nothing at the scene that indicates who this woman is. So they ask for eyewitnesses, and they
DNA.
describe her.
Just so you know, DNA doesn't exist yet.
Right.
Did
not
they
in
even do?
1970.
Did they even do dental back then? Did they rip out their teeth and figure it out, or did
I
they
don't
not
know.
have that technology?
I think they did. So they.
You're not an expert, though.
I'm not an expert on that.
Oh.
When dental records started,
Maybe you
I'm pretty sure
maybe
they
you
did.
should,
So they find a clue a few days later.
Well,
they
let
find
me just say you should give up your dental podcast that you have because you're not an expert.
Yeah. They find 2 suitcases at the Bergen Railway Station's left luggage department.
Okay.
One of them contains prescription-free glasses, and a fingerprint on one of the pairs matches the Isdell woman.
Oh.
So the suitcase contained clothes, several wigs, German and Norwegian money, and Belgian, British, and Swiss coins, a comb and a hairbrush, cosmetics, some teaspoons, and a tube of eczema cream.
Several wigs. That's either a spy.
Well, or it was 1970.
Cynthia, the lady I work with.
The-
It's one of the two.
Yeah,
She's got
or
a
it
lot
was
of wigs.
1970.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of women wore wigs.
Oh.
Yeah.
They did?
Mhm.
People just wore wigs? Yeah, you know what? My mom had a bunch of wigs, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Why did she have those wigs? Did she wear those, I wonder?
She might have.
I never
People
wa-
wore wigs. They did. They just mix it up, I guess.
They
Mix up
wore
the
wigs
look.
just to have a different style?
I guess.
Holy crap, I just remembered. I remember she had a wig. Whenever we'd get out my mom's wig, like we'd all put it on and run around the house and everybody laugh. Oh, look, one of the kids has the wig.
Yeah.
I never once questioned why
she had a wig.
fucking wig.
Unless it was a Halloween wig. It wasn't a
I
regular
don't think
wig.
so. I'm going to have to... I'm
You
gonna have to
have to
ask her. We gotta have her on because she was alive in the 70s.
Yeah.
She knew what was going on. We
That's
gotta ask.
right.
We have to have both of our moms on one of these
I
episodes.
know. I told my mom.
How about
that
we
too.
do this? We have her on 72 when you were born. We'll have my mom on 76 when I'm born.
Oh, there you go. That
then we'll
sounds
talk
good.
about our births.
Yeah. No, we don't need it to get graphic about it.
No, but we can, and then we can both question them about what drugs they did. What? Come on, you were high.
What drugs did you do?
Okay, go ahead.
So,
and the wigs.
So all the labels had been removed. Even the prescription sticker on the eczema cream had been scraped off.
Why? I wonder. Oh, the prescription because they don't want to know who it is. I guess.
Well, they tried to trace any of the belongings. They contacted department stores abroad to see if the stores recognized any of the packaging on her
Which
makeup.
broad?
Abroad, like across the pond,
Two broads.
kind of thing.
Oh,
So
across the pond.
none of the department stores can find a match. And there's also a mysterious coded note in the case. There's a plastic bag from Oscar Rotvert's footwear store, a shoe shop in Stavanger, and the owner's son remembered selling a pair of rubber boots to a very well-dressed, nice-looking woman with dark hair.
Who also was burned all over her body.
And they and it appears to match the boots he sold her appeared to match the boots found on the body. He said she spoke English with an accent and had a calm, quiet expression.
Huh.
Using his description, police are able to trace the woman to St. Svithin Hotel nearby, where she checked in as Fenella Lorch. The problem was
Vanilla Lorch, y'all.
Fenella Lorch wasn't her real
I'd
name.
like a large order of Vanilla Lorch.
No, you missed it. Fenella Lorch wasn't her real name.
How do you know?
That's what they found out.
They've
So
discovered
they found out that it emerged that she had stayed in several hotels in Norway using different aliases and must have had several fake passports. There were 9 different hotels that she stayed at.
So she's either
9 different
criminal.
names.
Fenella Lorch, though, that's a pretty cool name. I like.
Yeah.
Of course, you made that one up because
Right.
nobody's name is Fenella Lorch.
So
Vanilla loach, y'all.
they
Vanilla,
learned
vanilla loach.
in
Sorry.
addition to speaking English, she also used some German phrases, and that she would
like
often
Wiener Schnitzel?
She would often request a change of room. Sometimes she on one occasion she asked to change rooms 3 times.
She got pooping on the bed and like, okay, I
This
want a
could
different
be
room.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant's poop. Andre the Giant's poop is in this room too. I need another room, please. Wiener Schnitzel.
So there was several rumors that she was a spy.
Yeah, that sounds like a spy. Wigs, changing rooms, vanilla loach.
So
different
police
names.
eventually cracked some of the coded notes, but it didn't provide any evidence that she was a spy. It was a record of the places she visited, is all it was.
So they probably were able to at least check those places out, right?
Yeah. And they found out where she had been. So they investigate and examine. They do an autopsy. They find unexplained bruise on the right side of her neck that could have been a result of a blow or a fall, but there are no signs that she had been ill. She'd never been pregnant or had a child. Her death is likely to have been a painful one because there were smoke particles in her lungs, which shows she was alive while she was burning.
Oh, man.
Petrol had been used to set her alight. She had a high concentration of carbon monoxide, and there were about 50 to 70 sleeping pills in her stomach, although they had not been fully absorbed in her bloodstream before she died.
Oh, I wonder if she was in so much pain.
She died from a combination of carbon monoxide poisoning and ingesting a large number of sleeping pills. And it was announced the cause of death as a probable suicide, but then nobody they were like, why would you
do that
Why would
to
you do
yourself? Why would you
that?
just take the pills?
Yeah. So the case closed and the woman is buried in February 1971. Then in 2016, the possibility of solving the case rears its head again.
Rears its ugly head.
That's right. So she had distinctive teeth. 14 of them were filled, and she had several gold crowns.
Huh.
These were especially unusual for someone in her age range and is not typical of dental work seen in Norway. There was this professor of dentistry that kept the woman's jaw, and after he died, everybody thought, oh, it's probably been destroyed. But then investigative journalists went looking for it, and they found it packed away in some cellar. So that gave Norwegian police the opportunity to reopen the case and use the latest forensic techniques to try to identify
on her
the woman.
jaw. Yeah.
So they did these tests, and they found that she grew up along the French-German border.
Okay.
And they figured that because that you can do the type of water that she drank when she and where that was, so that shows where they grew up.
Crap.
And then also your teeth reflect the type of food you eat and the type of soil in the area where you grow up.
That's nuts.
Isn't that crazy? So they haven't cracked the case yet, but they're hoping, because they're also got some tissue samples.
They're still working on this shit?
Yeah, so they're going to
Holy
send
crap.
out for DNA. And the DNA came back, and it showed that she was European descent. So that she was an agent from Israel or whatever wasn't as likely.
Wow.
So that was just the story of the Isdal woman.
That was the story of the Isdal woman.
Yes.
Saturday, December 12th, 1970. We got a new number 1 song. We're in December now.
All right, what is it?
Bum, bum, bum. Ba-da-bum, bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Ba-da-bit-bit-bit-bit-bit.
What is that supposed to be?
The success of this song led the Miracles' lead singer, songwriter, and producer Smokey Robinson, who had announced plans to leave the act, to stay until 1972.
Oh, Tears of a Clown?
Yes! Stevie Wonder and Hank Cosby wrote the music for the song.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And Cosby produced the instrumental track recording, and Wonder brought the instrumental track to the 1966 Motown Christmas party because he could not come up with a lyric to fit the instrumental. Wonder wanted to see what Smokey Robinson could come up with for the track. Robinson, who remarked that the song's distinctive calliope motif sounded like a circus,
It does.
provided lyrics that reflected his vision and sang the lead vocal. In the song, his character, sad because a woman has left him, compares himself to the characters in the opera Pagliacci. Pagliacci?
What
I say
What
that.
is a calliope music good for?
Comedians, clowns who hide
You
their
think about
hurt and
that?
anger behind empty smiles. What?
Why do we have calliope music besides... There's no other place to...
Well, the song.
Like, circuses are the only place that you would ever have that. But then I read that...
Maybe it was just big back in the...
I read that
olden
I think it was Aleister Crowley, the guy that founded Satanism, was an avid calliope player.
It's kind of creepy sounding.
It is.
But it was probably before we had...
Can you imagine? I play the calliope.
I don't think anybody plays it anymore, do they?
I don't know. That's a good question. Somebody's got to.
I got my dick stuck in a calliope once.
You did not. All right.
You don't know.
Okay.
You don't know where my dick's been.
Oh, my God.
Anyway. And the tears of a clown.
Okay. We're done with that part.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. Tears of a clown.
That's a good song, though, despite the calliope.
Yeah, the calliope kind of makes it not so good.
I swallowed a calliope once. No, it sounds really good.
Okay.
I was listening to it with my headphones as I was bebopping down the street. I was like, this is a good song still. It holds up.
All right.
And then on December 15th, 1970,
Mm-hmm.
the number one show that year of all of 1970 was on, and it was called Marcus Welby, MD.
I remember hearing of that, and I never saw it, but...
Well, this particular episode, a father with mononucleosis endangers his life by not following Welby's advice.
That's what happens.
It looks boring. I tried to watch a little bit. I was like,
Did you really?
It just seems boring.
So on that same day, well, first of all, in
December 15th?
Yeah.
Yeah?
First of all, in December, he received honorable discharge, and he went back to New York.
Oh, who? Dr. MacDonald?
Dr. MacDonald. And he goes on...
He went back to New York.
Makes all these media appearances.
His kids and family are gone.
Yes.
And now he's doing media appearances?
Yeah, he goes on the Dick Cavett show.
On December 15th?
Yeah. And
same time that Marcus Welby's on. If you switch the channel, you'll see him on Dick Cavett.
Dick Cavett, and he makes jokes here and there, and he complains about the investigation.
I bet we can find this online and watch it.
Yeah,
Did you watch it?
Oh yeah,
you did.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to
He makes jokes about it.
He doesn't make jokes about it, but he makes jokes, not about it.
Yeah.
But like he's kind of jokey with Dick Cavett. And,
yeah, you're a goddamn guy that
and
his family all died.
So he moves to Long Beach, California, the next year, but his father-in-law Freddie Kassab, I think is how you say it. Freddie Kassab, his Colette's father-in-law,
who he murdered,
begins to turn against him.
Okay.
After all these media appearances,
I would too.
And initially, he was a really strong supporter. Like he came out and said these wonderful
no way
things.
He would have done
right.
this. He's a great guy.
Right. And so he wanted this transcript of the Article 32 hearing. And MacDonald refused to give him the transcript of it. And so that pissed him off even more.
MacDonald had it, though?
Yeah.
They give you a transcript of your court case when
you can get it, I guess.
Huh.
But not anybody can get it,
Yeah.
So also he made, MacDonald would make contradictory and outlandish claims. In November of 1970, he told Kassab that he tracked down and tortured and killed one of the killers, but refused to give the details of that. And he later claimed he lied to put to rest Kassab's persistence about finding the killer. So
he told who that he did that?
He told the father-in-law that he went and tracked down and killed the killers. And later he says that he lied to put to rest because Kassab was so persistent about finding the killers.
Oh, yeah.
So once Kassab got a copy of the transcript, then he noted more inconsistencies in testimony. In March 1971, Kassab visited the crime scene to test physical evidence against MacDonald's testimony, and this convinced him MacDonald was guilty. So he filed a citizen's complaint through the Justice Department.
Did it say what he found that made him convinced?
Just the way that everything was, there wasn't a lot knocked over, and
just those things.
Mm-hmm. So He filed the citizen's complaint through the Justice Department in early 1972, but was held in limbo because the murders happened while MacDonald was in the Army. When J. Edgar Hoover, was the head of the FBI.
Yeah.
He was not allowing the civilian courts to deal with it. But then after he retired, after he left the FBI, they went ahead with it, and a grand jury convened on August 12th, 1974.
Oh, the same day that Nolan Ryan struck out 19 batters, and Otto Van Heller won an 18-man battle royal, earning a shot at Bruno Sammartino that day.
And then on January 24th, 1975...
the day that Larry Fine of Moe, Larry, and Curly died?
The grand jury indicted MacDonald, and he was arrested.
What? Really?
Yes. So then on January 31st, 1975...
the same time Sanford and Son, Grady and Bubba appear as contestants on Wheel and Deal, hoping to win a new car.
I don't think we can do this.
Yeah, we can.
You doing
Go
this
ahead.
every time.
That's fine.
He was freed on a $100,000 bail. Then on May 23rd, 1975...
We'll Get By, starring Paul Sorvino, was on TV.
He pled not guilty.
Bam.
Then on July 29th, 1975... The judge denies his double jeopardy. He was trying to claim double jeopardy. You know what double jeopardy is?
No, explain double jeopardy to me.
Double
I've never
jeopardy
understood
is
that.
if you have been proven innocent in a crime, you
Okay,
can't be retried for it. And that's
even
what he
if
was
you
trying
find
to.
new evidence.
Yep. Even O.J. Simpson can come out tomorrow and say, "I did it," and he won't get tried.
Oh, is that why he put out that book?
Yeah. I mean,
But he had a civil lawsuit or something, right?
he did, and he lost that.
So that's why he can say that he did it now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
So on Tuesday, July 29th, he did what?
the judge denied that double jeopardy would work because it was a military court.
Wait. He denied,
He denied double jeopardy.
which means that he can be retried.
He can be retried.
That's the same day that Tattletales with Bill Cullen and Ann Cullen and Ron Cass and Joan Collins and Jack Ryan and Zsa Zsa Gabor was on. It was a game show with celebrity couples.
And also his other complaint was that you're supposed to have a right to a speedy trial, and that was his other complaint.
Yeah, that's definitely not speedy then.
Right, but
This is
the
how
judge
many-
denied that too.
Oh, really?
So-
Well, good. Because the judge probably saw him on Dick Cavett and was like, this fucker's coming down.
So he allowed the trial date of August 18th, 1975 to stand. After several court motions, the murder trial began on July 16th, 1979.
Now, why didn't it start till 1979 when it was scheduled for 75? It just got delayed or something?
Yeah.
Because that's 4 years.
Yeah,
4
it
years.
goes slow.
So by the time it came to court, that's the same time Saddam Hussein became president of Iraq.
Okay. Then the prosecution had the main things the prosecution had was the Time magazine that he had with the article about the Manson murders in it.
Uh-huh.
The type of holes in the pajama top matched up with, they were in the same kind of configuration as the stab wounds on the wife. So like if you had like he had laid the top down and then stabbed her through the pajama top.
Oh, his own top.
His
He
own
laid it on
top. Remember
of-
that where he laid it down?
Yeah.
So
so he laid it on top of her, then stabbed her.
Yeah, the holes were the same
Why?
number
I
as
wonder
the
why.
times she was stabbed with identical pattern. And then also
He was probably like holding her down or something with that. Ugh.
there was the prosecution also had this audio tape of his police interview from
okay.
April 6, 1970.
Yeah.
He was real matter-of-fact and indifferent while he was describing what happened in the murders.
Yeah.
But then he got real angry and defensive and emotional and when they suggested that he was the killer.
Which, wouldn't you, though, even if you weren't the killer, you'd still get emotional like that?
Well, I think it's important not to say how people should behave when something like that happens, just because none of us know what we'll do.
What you would do?
And if you're shocked or if you're in shock or what,
That sounds like something somebody who's planning a murder would say.
I'm just saying
You're planning to murder me, aren't you?
there's been cases that people are in suspicion because of their behavior, and then later it's shown that they didn't do anything.
Well, if you're listening, please make note of this, that if I'm murdered later,
Right.
Amy did it.
So the defense focused on Helena Stokely.
Yes, I want to know more about her.
Yeah, well, she called and denied any involvement, and they had
Oh,
motions.
so she's scot-free. She called. She called. She
So
didn't do anything.
the motions to call witnesses who had previously heard her confess were not allowed into the court.
What?
So
People that heard her confess.
they didn't allow them to come and
Well, why
testify
not?
because it's hearsay.
Oh, I guess that is hearsay. But isn't everything hearsay, really?
And then there was character witnesses called to talk about what a great guy he was and how and a family guy he was and whatever. And he took the stand in his own defense, which is very rare.
Yeah, you never do that.
Yep. And he denied committing the murders, but could offer no explanation against the evidence upon cross-examination.
Oh, boy.
So, in
think
August 29th, 1979,
Oh, the same day that Greg the Hammer Valentine fought Chief J. Strongbone, in Glens Falls, New York.
I guess.
No, Greg the Hammer Valentine.
We're not going into that. So he was convicted on August 29th, 1979 of first-degree murder in the death of Kristen, his daughter, and then second-degree for his wife and his other daughter,
He was
Kimberly.
convicted, huh?
He was convicted. March 27th, 1991, he became eligible for parole but did not apply,
And that's the same time Jake and the Fat Man was on.
continuing to vehemently maintain his innocence because in order to get parole, you have to admit you did it. And you have
Really?
and you have to
So if
say
you keep
that you're
denying,
sorry.
You keep denying it, even if you didn't.
Yeah, if
You're stuck in
you
jail.
won't. Yeah, you won't. You will not get parole unless you admit it and show your remorse.
Oh my gosh.
So he won't he didn't apply for the long time, but then he got married again, of course.
In jail because
Yeah.
some weirdo wants to bang him.
So
all
his
the time.
second wife,
Hey, people out there, if you're having trouble getting a date or getting laid,
Don't-
or getting married, go to jail.
yeah, that's where they. So
Go to jail,
his,
you'll get
his
married.
second wife urged him and his attorneys. He applied for a parole hearing held May 10th, 2005.
Oh, according to Jim was on.
And parole was immediately denied him.
Probably because the judge wanted to go see according to Jim.
The next parole hearing is scheduled for May 2020. And as of 2015, he is serving his sentence at a federal prison and continues to maintain his innocence to this day.
Well, let me try this. I know this is the future, but May 2020 will be when Alf, the remake, is on. The new version of Alf on Netflix comes out.
So what do you think? You think that was the story of Dr. Jeffrey MacDonald?
I don't think he did it.
You don't?
Because if he did it, he would be out of jail by admitting it, right? Possibly, because he said he can't get parole.
He did. He did finally go and try to get parole, but
it was denied.
It was denied.
So he tried to get it, so he admitted to doing it, or he didn't.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well,
They said at the urging, his wife's urging, and his attorneys,
Yeah.
he applied for parole.
Oh, but I thought you said he didn't get it because he wouldn't admit it.
It could
We
be.
just had that whole conversation.
I know.
Or you
But
said that was the
he had
case.
never applied for parole before because he said he
Oh, but then he finally did.
he finally did.
I missed
Yeah.
that. Well, I don't know. It really makes me think he did it once he acted all fishy on Dick Cavett. But I think now they have DNA because can't they? I mean, the scene's all gone, but can't they test everything for
I don't know.
somebody else's DNA? Because nobody else's fingerprints came up anywhere.
Right. That's right.
No, but they all had gloves on apparently. But and I just can't believe we haven't found out more about that candle woman.
Well, I guess she was a big druggie and she died. She's dead.
She's dead.
She's dead. And the guy her boyfriend was supposed to be one of the other ones that was in there, and he's dead now. And
Can't they? Once they invent resurrection,
That's right.
Bring people back from the dead.
but
Be all set.
I feel like he did do it because, first of all, acid is groovy. Kill the pigs. I don't think
Nobody's gonna say
nobody
that.
would that like you were saying earlier. It's exactly right. It sounds like somebody who is some straight nerd with a corn cob up his ass, trying to remember or think about what a hippie would say.
It's like what the right wing thinks liberals are saying,
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
exactly.
Like they're all devil worshippers, and they're all these kids at the rock concerts love the devil. It's like nobody's doing that. So it just sounds like somebody doesn't know what they're about.
Yeah,
guessing.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Huh? It's a whodunit. It's a thinker.
It's a noodle scratcher.
It's a mystery. I'll scratch your noodle.
All right. We have anything else?
No.
We got toys.
Couple things. Wednesday, December 16th, the movie Love Story comes out with Ryan O'Neal.
Oh, and Ally McGraw. Is that right?
Yeah, Ryan O'Neal and Ally McGraw. To prepare for the roles, both Ryan O'Neal learned to ice skate and Ally McGraw learned to play the harpsichord.
Wow.
This was the film debut of Tommy Lee Jones, a Harvard graduate. Eric Segal based Ryan O'Neal's character on Tommy Lee Jones and on his Harvard roommate, future Vice President Al Gore.
What? They based the character on Tommy Lee Jones and Al Gore?
Ryan O'Neal's character was based on Tommy Lee Jones and on his Harvard roommate, like a mix of them. Tommy Lee Jones' roommate in college at Harvard was
Al Gore?
Al Gore, yeah.
What?
Yeah, imagine walking to that dorm.
Whoa.
A lockbox.
I didn't know.
I invented the internet.
I didn't know Tommy Lee Jones even went to Harvard.
Yeah, he's a smart motherfucker.
I guess so.
And he roommated with Al Gore.
That's so bizarre. That's weird.
They smoked pot together in the dorm.
Probably did. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, actually, what was probably happening, Tommy Lee Jones was probably getting laid while Al Gore listened. And watched
God.
him get laid.
Oh, yipe.
Yeah, so how about that little tidbit of trivia?
That's crazy.
That's some trivia for you, because after all, this is kind of a trivia podcast, really.
It is.
And then on the another day, on Wednesday, December 23rd, Little Big Man came out, the movie Little Big Man.
And we have watched pretty much half of that.
We keep trying to get through it. It's a long-ass movie with lots of twists and turns.
It's not bad.
It's not terrible. It's just weird seeing Dustin Hoffman so young for me.
Yes.
That's the weirdest thing.
And he's almost a sex symbol or something in it.
Kinda.
And he's
plays
so not.
The weird thing is he plays
105-year-old man.
Yeah, Dustin
or
Hoffman plays
120-year-old
a
man.
really huge old man, but he's got tons of age makeup on, and he's doing this old man's voice, narrating the whole story like this.
That's right.
And then the whole story, he goes in, he meets General Custer, and he's raised by Native Americans. Then he goes to the white people. Then he goes back to the Native Americans, back and forth.
Yeah.
And so it's more than anything, it's interesting to watch now. It's on Amazon Prime for free.
Yeah.
So it's the one movie we tried to watch. We've watched it like 4 different nights. We've been watching
Yeah,
it. We keep
it's so
falling
long.
asleep. It's really long, but it's just more than anything, it's interesting to me to see, I don't know, the style of acting in the '70s, how different it was, and just to see Dustin Hoffman as a young guy is weird.
Yep.
And I just keep seeing Tootsie.
Yes.
And
Rain Man.
and Rain Man. Everything he says sounds like Rain Man. And also how good they've done at digitizing these old movies. Like it's good quality what
that's
they've done
true.
on Amazon. So, but I guess it's good. I don't know. Christmas. You have some presents on Christmas?
I do. All right, we're not going to know a lot of these. So there was some of the Barbies from 1970 was the new living Barbie who moves like you move with lifelike poses, so I'm not sure.
So Barbie before that probably couldn't do anything.
Yeah, couldn't bend or wasn't articulated or whatever. There was Talking Barbie and her talking friends, including PJ, Ken, Christy, and Stacy. Talk teen, talk dates, dances, fashions, and more. So I didn't know they had a Talking Barbie that early, but they did.
It's probably like a pull the string and talk.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Those are creepy.
And then there was a console organ, Bontempi console organ. It was electric cord console organ with full 37 keys, treble keys, 6 bass keys, and 6 bass chords. Give real pro sound for you and your pop group, music book included. Organs were such a big thing in the 70s. I remember
we had an
Katie's
organ.
grandma had an organ.
My grandma had an organ.
Yeah, everybody had an organ. Why?
I don't know.
Why was that such
My
a big
grandma
thing?
had an organ, and she would,
Yeah.
like, every once in a while she'd turn it on, but it's like, no, it generally just became a furniture because you
Yeah.
put stuff on it.
Exactly.
She played every once in a while, but
Who can play it?
my grandma could.
She could?
Yeah, it had all these, like,
Your
different...
grandma that's alive now?
Yeah.
Could play the organ?
She played the organ. She played the piano, too, for a while. She had a
she
piano.
did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she played the organ. She was really good. And then she would, like, nope, and then she wouldn't touch it for
Forever and
3
ever.
years. And I'm like, Grandma, why won't you play that organ? I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know.
Isn't that just funny that was such a big 70s instrument?
That was
And
a
it went
huge
away?
thing. Yeah. And then nobody plays the organ now.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
No, now churches don't even. Then there was a Chatty Cathy doll, and she talks, whispers, and even sings 9 different times each time you pull her talking ring. Prettier than ever with bright red polka dot dress. So she whispers. Wouldn't that be creepy?
That's creepy as hell.
Yeah, it would. Then there was a doll called Dressy Bessie, and now these I remember. This Dressy Bessie doll is from Play School, and it's this.
You have to be
It's
an
a
engineer.
it's a stuffed baby doll, but it's got a vest on, and it's got a zipper and some buttons and some snaps and some
You're saying
ties.
it's called Dressy Bessie?
Yes, and you could learn how to tie and snap and button.
Oh, you could teach you those things. So it's for little kids.
Yeah, it's for real little kids.
Oh, yeah.
Then
From
there was
1996 in Denver.
Then there was Frosty Snow Cone Maker. Just add ice cubes, syrup flavoring, and turn the handle. And, of course, that probably didn't work at all.
What was it called?
Frosty Snow Cone Maker.
Yeah, those were...
And the Snoopy Snow Cone machine never worked for shit.
That was shitty as fuck.
So I'm sure this one didn't. Either that or it was very sharp blades that would slice your finger off. Because it was a 1970 toy.
Yeah.
Then there was Gigantor Robot.
Gigantor.
He was a giant 17-inch walking robot with superpowers. He walks, his chest doors open when he stops, and giant guns come out and fire with rapid shots with a rapid, realistic rat-a-tat-tat sound, while lights flash and his upper body rotates. Then there was G.I. Joe Astronaut. G.I. Joe Astronaut is in orbit, performs space maneuvers, including his spacewalk for the beginning of new space adventures.
G.I. Joe in 1970, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like a doll. It's
Yeah,
like a Ken doll.
it is. I think so.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
got a beard.
Yeah. They had some Hot Wheels. There was Hot Wheels involved. They had Mongoose and Snake set and drag shoot stunt set. And then there was this music box that had a ballerina in it, and I had one of these. And
You did?
you open the lid, and the ballerina would turn, and there's this little tiny ballerina in the music box. And that, I think every little girl had one of those.
Yeah.
Then there was an NHL table hockey.
Every little girl wasn't killed by her dad who's a doctor.
That's true. She probably had one too. There was NHL table hockey with the top teams in 1971, the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, those are your two favorite hockey teams, honey?
So it was like air hockey, I think, or table hockey.
Yep. Oh, yeah. We had the same thing. So it's kind of like foosball. It was so hard to play, but we had it. It looked just like that. We had that exact one.
Oh, wow.
Guy, and you could turn the guy, and he would flip the little puck. Yeah, we had that. I think we had one with the Toledo Gold Diggers on it.
Huh. Then
Yep,
the last thing is a talking Viewmaster. I'm going to blow your
Yep.
mind again by
The
one that
Viewmasters.
talks. But a talking Viewmaster, watch and listen to your favorite cartoon characters or special events. Some of the Viewmaster reels available with sound include Alice in Wonderland, The Flintstones, Bugs Bunny, Snow White, and from last year, the Apollo moon landing with sound. So that was the year after the Apollo moon landing. So those were the toys from 1970. You thought I maybe wasn't going to do toys, but
I kind of hoped you wouldn't do it.
But I did.
But you wasted everyone's time with those.
Nope, it was delish.
Yeah, there's some jackass that listens to our podcast secretly that won't tell us and won't rate us and won't review us. That's like, oh, toys. Oh.
They play with the toys while I talk about them.
The toys.
I'll go get it right now.
I'll go get my old toys out right now.
Well, I'm listening to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to play with my hockey thing.
I had one other thing. It was really just an elaboration again, because so earlier in the year I talked about when George Harrison stole that song.
Yep.
On December 26th of 1970, it became number one on the Billboard charts, My Sweet Lord.
Okay. So he didn't have to, stop recording it or anything?
It was at the center of a heavily publicized copyright infringement suit due to its similarity to the Ronnie Mac song He's So Fine, a 1963 hit for the New York girl group The Chiffons. In 1976, Harrison was found to have subconsciously plagiarized the earlier tune, a verdict that had repercussions throughout the music industry. He claimed to have used the out-of-copyright Oh Happy Day, a Christian hymn, as his inspiration for the song's melody. And George Harrison was murdered.
He was not.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
Well, how did he die then?
I don't remember, but he wasn't murdered.
You don't know.
Hi, I think I'd know.
I forgot to... just to clarify that earlier thing, Greg the Hammer Valentine fought Chief Jay Strongbow at Glens Falls Civic Center. And Andre the Giant and Tito Santana took on WWF Tag Team Champions Jimi and Jerry Valiant.
Nobody cares about that.
Well, you do. You just were upset that there wasn't so much wrestling. So
no, I was getting excited about it.
But do you know who Greg the Hammer Valentine is?
I've heard you blabber about him.
What do you think about him?
I don't have a fucking opinion about this.
He's got long blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
He's got feathered hair.
All right, was that it?
He's a big fag and he falls flat on his face all the time. He does a great job of that.
Was that the end?
That's it. That's all I got, baby.
All right, that was 1970 in 2 episodes.
Yeah, we're now finally done with 1970.
The next.
Oh man,
stay tuned.
This is our 3rd season, and we're still doing this same old thing.
That's right. So buckle down.
We got a lot more years.
Got a lot more to do.
I'll admit, I think these 70s are going to be good. There's a lot of stuff I'd never heard of, knew about, and we're learning a lot of stuff. And nothing went viral. Yep. Nothing that went viral back then, so nobody heard any of this stuff.
That's right. So it's the first time.
Yeah, when nobody had a cell phone.
So make sure to rate us and review us and subscribe and
just start sending us bags of cash
and all that stuff, so we don't have to have our jobs.
Send us drugs. No, I don't want any drugs.
No, you don't want drugs.
I do. Maybe an antihistamine. I can use an antihistamine.
You sound like you could. You kind of sound stuffy.
Use an antihistamine.
Okay, so
send us antihistamines.
Yes, let's do that and get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Get out of here, Chuck Berry. You are no longer welcome on the podcast.
American Timeline.